Hello, everybody. We are just going to give a few minutes here for people to join us. My name is Robert Miller with Miller Education Ventures, and we are just going to be give it a few more minutes, and I'll keep track of here who is actually coming in. We are live right now on my YouTube channel at Miller Ventures, Miller Education Ventures, my personal profile, and on my business page, Miller Education Ventures, otherwise at Miller Ventures. So, what are we going to be talking about today? We are going to be going back to the basics. I see so much information out there about people that are starting a business or have a startup already going, or they have all this information and they don't know how to put all the pieces together. So, what this is about, this live streaming that I do on all these different platforms, including Twitter, is going back to the basics, because when you get all this information, you got information overload. People are telling you to buy this product or buy this system, but nobody really teaches you or shows you how to use the stuff, or when to use the stuff, or when you should actually be getting the stuff. As an example, I see it over and over again. People buy a system or a product. There's a one that's floating around, a big one right now on TikTok that I'm not going to mention, but you buy their program and they recommend these tools, which are funnel builders. And at the same time, what they do is they don't really tell you how to use or set up any of these things. Some of these systems and programs, they are good. There's no question about it. But at the same time, where's the information of when to buy it? They just want you to buy. So anyway, we're getting back to the basics of how to actually start an online business and what you should do next. And every week we're going to be talking about different things, say starting about the basics, starting about the legal entities, which we are going to be talking about today a little bit. So anyway, first off, you got to do is figure out exactly what is your business model. I'm not talking about a business plan. I'm talking about the business model. Are you selling a product service? Are you going to be doing e-commerce? Are you going to be setting up a Shopify store to sell both? Are you going to be setting up Amazon FBA? So if you're even considering brick and mortar store, what are you going to be doing? Like, what is your business model? Myself, I sell services. So the thing is that I do have physical products, but that is the side things. I don't really work with that part of things. So what we're going to be talking about is the business model. You got to figure out, what are you selling and how are you going to sell it? What is your customer? You're hearing the phrase a lot, customer avatar. What is a customer avatar? Well, it's basically your perfect client, but there is no perfect client. You never ever know who's going to be buying your product or service. Nobody knows. People say, I need a mentor. Okay, what kind of mentor? Oh, to teach me how to run a business or start a business. Okay, what kind of business? We're going back again to what is the business model that you want to have. Coaches can teach you anything, but they got to know the starting point. Therefore, you got to know what kind of coach you want. Do you want somebody that's going to show you how to start a business? What do you need? In the US, you have limited, like LLCs, limited liability corporation. In Canada here, we don't have LLCs. We either got corporation or incorporated. We got sole proprietorship. We got limited partnerships. Completely different. So that's why I'm saying is you got to know the basics of the basics to get going. Legal entities. Legal entities is imperative to protect your personal assets, such as your cash in the bank, your car, your house, your savings account, your trust account if you have one set up for your kids or your grandchildren. Setting up a business legal entity is imperative. You just don't come up with a business name. You do the registration, like in Canada here, we have Revenue Canada. In the US, you got IRS. You got to set up a tax number. So the thing is that if you go into just sole proprietorship or with no backup and getting yourself away from being liable, if you don't set up your legal entity correctly, you're leaving yourself wide open for lawsuits. If something goes wrong and people want to sue you, and if you don't have your legal entity set up correctly, you could be sued out the gazoo. What do I mean by that? You gotta have your legal entity. Now, I don't have any graphics with this software to show you how I mean things, but here's a simple little thing to look at it as. You have your home, your family, you got your house, you got your car, you got your savings account, your checking account over in this entity here. It's a little bubble, call it. And all of a sudden you have this idea you're going to be setting up a business. Now, at the same time, you got to set up another entity strictly for your business. So therefore, you got two separate entities, number one, number two. You run your business out of number two, not using your asset. That's why I tell people never use your own money to start a business because you're going to be tying things together. Never ever use bootstrapping, yes, but I'm not going to get into how to fund your business because that's completely where you are in whatever country, whatever state, province, completely different. I'm not going to get into that today. But legal entity, you got to have two separate entities when you're setting up any company. That's why in Canada we have corporations and we have incorporated. In the US, you have your personal asset and you got a limited liability corporation, LLC. So this whole thing today is getting back to the basics. You just don't start a company, come up with a nice name, buy a domain. These things, it's all got to be in sequence, honey. You know, it's like honey and peanut butter and jam if you prefer. It's married, but they're two different things. So setting up your legal entity for your business is imperative. See, I'm not a lawyer. I am not an accountant. I am only going by my own experience and my knowledge for what I know you have to do. And you know, I have been caught up in a lot of programs, marketing systems. I've wasted probably over $30,000 in buying stuff that was just garbage. I do not give public recommendations of funnel builders, autoresponders, email systems. I don't give personal recommendations to anybody on that stuff. It's basically you do your research. So anyway, getting back to the basics, you got to find out, you have to figure out what do you want to do. And then for till you actually know what you're doing, don't buy anything. Don't buy ClickFunnels. Don't buy Dropfunnels. Don't buy GetResponse. Don't buy GrooveFunnels, which is in beta right now. What I recommend doing is before you spend any money on anything, figure out what you want to do in your business model. A lot of people, they get overwhelmed and they start doing too much. They pick 3 different things to sell or even two different things. My recommendation, stick with one. Stick with one product or service, launch that. And then what you do is once that thing gets a little traction and you feel that it's running on its own, then you start up a second product or service. But don't start 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 like some people do. And at the same time, don't get caught up in these programs and systems that people are promoting and buying, telling you to buy these things. And you know, sooner or later, it's going to come down to a high ticket salesperson getting you on the phone and trying to close you. And they're very good. That's why they're called high ticket closers. To buy you a program in the thousands of dollars. And you know something, a lot of these products or services, they're fantastic if they work. But the majority of them that are out there are pre-recorded videos that you do not get any support on. Some of these programs and services or systems are outdated. They may have worked 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year. I've seen products and services that are sold that are over 2 years old, and they're saying they still work today, but they don't. So the thing is though, do your homework, do your investigation, and do the background check on the people. You can find out anything about everybody on the internet, including myself. If you Google me, you'll find me on LinkedIn, you're going to find me on Twitter, you're going to find me on TikTok, you're going to find me on Instagram, you're going to find me on Facebook, you're going to find me everywhere. A lot of people, when they want to know information about me, the best source to go to is the profile. You can go to find me on Instagram. I've actually got a nice app that basically exposes everything. It's called Beacon.io, I think it's called. But again, if you have any questions, give me some questions. I see, there's some people here that are watching me on my personal Facebook page. If you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Oh, and before I forget, I just want to mention to you briefly is that this workshop coming up, what is today? February 23rd. I got a live workshop coming up on March 9th at 10:30 a.m. And there is a price. It's $47. And it's going to be a not public live stream. And what it's going to be entailing is a lot of details about, I hate the word newbies, but it's going to be talking about organic traffic and holding on to your wallet and not doing any advertising budgeting right now. Because here's the thing with Facebook, running ads on Facebook, unless you got a lot of money to run ads, it's really hard to curtail it down to get some really solid data, okay? But within Facebook advertising, there's only 3 or 4 categories that your ads have to fit into. Now, here's the thing. I was on a live workshop last Friday, it was. She's a Facebook expert, marketing expert, and you know something? She's even having a hard time getting her ads approved because of these categories. And here's an example of Facebook ads categories. One of the categories is real estate. And if you want to run an ad to be able to speak to realtors, getting realtors as clients, and you put your ad in the real estate category, and if you're not a realtor that's trying to sell real estate, chances of your ad getting approved are very nil, because of the mere fact they got these categories set up in a certain way. So if you run an ad on Facebook through Ads Manager and you are not selling real estate, but yet you put the ad copyright stating, I want to speak to realtors, that's fictitious. But what I'm saying is that it may get approved, but they're going to catch it and then they're going to take it down. So this lady, she's in Victoria, BC. She's phenomenal when it comes to her running her agency. But the point is that these are the things that people are struggling with right now is Facebook ads, and the budgeting, the money that's involved is horrendous. So if you don't have $1,500 to run ads on Facebook, I wouldn't even do it. I strictly go organic. Now, Arnold, you've asked me here, your main business is online. I guess you are reading my mind today. You mentioned something before I can ask it, but you are touching on Facebook and ads. Where do you get your clients from and how? Well, there's different streams for different purposes, Arnold. Now, the thing is that I like Facebook and I like Instagram. I don't like TikTok. That a lot of geez, I wish I could say the name that is crowding TikTok right now, but I can't for legal reasons. But I go on Facebook for the pure reason of information for me. Now, people message me when they see my profile, they know what I do. So, Arnold, to answer your question, where do I get clients from? It's different sources. And I can talk to you about that more in a one-on-one conversation if you want. But the easy way to look at this is that Facebook is not like it used to be. It was developed as a social network by Zuckerberg, but it's turned into more of a business platform, if you haven't noticed, because of all the back end changes that's happening, especially when it comes to running Facebook ads. Now, it's nothing like LinkedIn, obviously, but when somebody sends me a message, or say, for example, they see my profile and they'll ask me, what do you do? Can you help me as a new person starting an online business? I say, well, what are you looking for? And if I can't help them, I'll point them in the direction of where they can get help. I don't work with everybody. Um, there's a lot of reasons why. And if somebody needs help, say with Facebook ads, I'll send them to this person that I know that's actually in Victoria, BC, on the Vancouver Island, because she is the number one expert that I know right now that is running Facebook ads. And she is struggling. She said on the weekend, she was telling me that she worked on the same ad for 4 hours trying to get it perfect, to get it, to send it off, to get approved. And guess what? She had to do that 17 times before they approved it. She had to tweak it 17 times before they would finally approve that one ad. So she wasted a whole day just trying to create that one. So an easy way to look at it, Arnold, is that it comes in twofold. I get inquiries on Facebook when people find out what I do. I get inquiries on Instagram. I get inquiries even on TikTok. But you know, on TikTok, I can't really take TikTok seriously. It's more of a playground for people acting funny or doing funny things. But when I reach out to somebody, say for example, I see that they're in a group, and if I'm in that same group and they're saying they're struggling of trying to set up their sales funnel, I'll try and give them some encouragement. And before I know it, the question comes around and they'll say, hey, look, you seem to know a lot about this. Could you help me? And a lot of the times I'll try to help them I can for free, obviously. And if it gets into more of a detailed thing, well, either A, I can point them in the direction where to get more help if it's a bit more technical. But at the same time, there's no one source, Arnold. There is not one so-called source. But I hope I answered that question for you, Arnold. Now, is there anybody else that has any more questions in here? Because I'm going to be ending this quite soon. Do you have anything else, Arnold, for me? But Facebook ads, you know. Oh, Arnold, by the way, is it cold in Lacombe today? So anyway, if you have any more questions or any kind of things that you need answers for, you have the question, but you know, fire off a question to me. You can actually find me if you go in, if you go to my business page in Facebook at Miller Ventures. I post a lot of stuff in there, but at the same time, I also have a private group, Miller Education Ventures. And if you want to go there, Arnold, and there's a lot of stuff that I put in there that's not public. So by all means. So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And Arnold, stay warm where you are.